Hi, welcome back to Headbangers Ball. We're going to talk about the tour and, of course, Revenge. But as the album is dedicated to Eric Carr, I'd like to start off talking a little bit about Eric. Did you feel torn between kind of grieving in public and sharing sort of your grief with the kind of fans and the press around the world?
I don't know. I think, you know, how you grieve and your pain is your business. And I don't think that you become more genuine or you justify anything by, you know, by mourning in public. Certainly it was our nightmare. And if it affected the fans, which it did because Eric was such a fabulous person, you can imagine what it did to us. It was a nightmare. And I think that we're doing the best thing we can for Eric, other than remembering him and dedicating an album to him and having a song which he wrote and features a drum solo. Other than that, we're doing Kiss Proud, which does Eric proud. I think he'd be thrilled with the way this album has turned out. It's we couldn't have done this album without the 11 years that he put into it.
Absolutely. Okay. The drill in the background there. Did Eric's death somehow cause you to reappraise what Kiss was all about?
I think that would be doing Eric Carr's death a disservice.
It obviously had an effect on you personally and emotionally.
You know, he was as close as you can get to having a brother in the band. But to say that because of Eric Carr's death, the band somehow had a different point of view, I don't think that's fair. I think the band all of a sudden went into overdrive when we were on the last Hot in the Shade tour in America, and all of a sudden newfound energy. But Eric Carr's death was tragic, and you know, we've been through this a lot, so if we sound a little sort of iffy talking about it, it's because, you know, we're drained.
Absolutely. I can understand that. And you mentioned just now about the Eric Carr solo that's on the album. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? How did you find that? Perhaps Bruce?
That was cool. Bob Ezrin, our producer on this record, he was back in Toronto going through the vaults. Apparently, he worked on The Elder, which was the first record Eric Carr was involved in. Found a track that never quite made it, no lyrics or vocals were ever put on it. And it had guitars on it already, but we wanted to update it, so I got a chance to put some solos on it. And the thing that was kind of eerie about it was, you hear Eric count it off, you know, so it's like he was a part of the record there, even though it was like a ghost, you know. And I just know personally for myself, it makes me hungry to want to play guitar. Every day I'm alive, and this band is vital, and doing what we love to do, play rock and roll. I'm going to enjoy it and make it valuable. So that's what's come out of it for me personally, out of that tragedy.
Now, Eric's last contribution, I think as you mentioned, was God Gave Rock and Roll to You Too. Will that always be a particularly special song to Kiss?
I think it's a very special song for us because it was a massive hit in the UK. Eric Carr didn't get a chance to really contribute musically to that. That was Eric Singer's first time in the studio with us. Eric flew in like a trooper maybe 2 weeks after open heart surgery to remove a tumor. And although, you know, he was in no shape, he wanted very much to sing and sang the middle section with us. And that's the kind of guy he was.
Okay. And what's your fondest memory of Eric?
11 years of a great guy who was very funny and gave absolutely everything to his fans and felt that we couldn't do enough and he couldn't do enough, and was also a very funny and positive guy. What else can you say?
Okay.
This is all getting a little bit too
morbid,
sort of morbid.
Absolutely. Well,
because the truth is that when we think about Eric, it's an up feeling. The fact that Eric was with us for 11 years.
We reminisce about it.
Yeah, we joke around about it. It's not like, I mean, God or the laws of nature, whatever, did what they had to do, or you know, whatever happened, and it's in the past. For us, they're happy memories. So when we talk about it, we joke around about it.
I mean, once in a while you go, I can't believe he's dead, but at the same time, most of the talk is, wow, remember when he did this, or remember how he used to do this? It's good stuff. So, you know, to turn this into like this somber kind of affair is a real bummer. I mean, as far as I think we're concerned.
Well,
he was a great guy and wouldn't want us to be standing around here, you know, sobbing or anything. It's unlike him and unlike us.
He'd want us to know the humor that he brought us. He was always a prankster, very funny.
Well, thank you for talking so candidly about that. I appreciate it. I know the kids out in Europe appreciate it too. Kiss are still with me on this special edition of Headbangers Ball, and we're going to talk some more. And I just wondered, how did you go about finding a replacement for Eric?
He was in the mailbox.
I'm small enough and I fit. Paul has this really big mailbox in front of his house.
I opened up the mailbox and you went, hey.
I went, hi.
We knew Eric for a long time. Actually, I did a small solo club tour in, I think, what was it, 89?
Yes.
And I asked around, I said, who's like the best drummer around, you know, who's available? And Eric's name kept coming up. And, you know, he played with Gary Moore and he played with Sabbath at one point, you know, one of the Sabbaths, whichever Sabbath it was. And, you know, he's kind of like the hired gun that everybody likes to play with. And when I played with him on tour, he was fabulous. So he kind of became like a member of the inner circle of Scum, which is, you know, what our friends are. And then when things started to get, you know, very, very tenuous, you know, and Eric Carr got ill, we called Eric up and said, are you available to come in and help us out? And obviously he came in as a temporary and played his bollocks off, played his ass off, and did a great job on the album. And only did it, you know, as a temporary, but played as though, you know, it meant everything. And obviously when Eric Carr passed away, and when Eric Carr did pass away, he was a full member of the band. We spoke to Eric about joining, and it made the most sense.
Okay. How did you think Eric's style differs to Eric Carr's?
You know, I think we should probably stop talking for a second. And how would you describe your style a little bit?
Well, I've got a question for Eric in a minute, actually.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Well, here we are.
Do it my way.
Do it my way. Women rule, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
We're
Yes,
all
they do.
beat.
And men bow.
And we do bow. Our knees buckle, don't they? Eric, saying your style can be best described as kick, big snare. For every girl that wants to lose a couple of pounds, just set Eric up in your living room and he'll shake it right off you.
Because he's a stud.
Because he is a
puppet.
studly.
No, he's
Junior pimp.
yeah, junior pimp.
Now, Eric, what do you think you've brought to the Kiss equation?
Well,
E equals MC squared.
I buy a lot of cookies for Gene, and I contribute very much to his dessert. I don't know. I think one thing is I felt that I had a lot of experience, which was probably at this time kind of crucial to them. But more importantly, they knew me, and I know it's the most important thing in a band is chemistry. You know, to have and for people to feel at ease. And I think I probably brought that to the situation, some stability at a very difficult time. And it was very awkward for me coming in at that kind of situation. But you know, I'm trying to be positive, make the most of it. You know. And so far, everything's been going, like, fantastic.
Famous. Incredibly.
Yeah.
You know what he brings, though? He's into guitars. That's why he's my pal.
He's got nice hair as well.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a good color.
He's not just a drummer. He loves guitars. So he's my pal, like I said.
Was it important for you that the fans realised that Revenge was a band effort?
Very much so. I mean, you know, sometimes in the past there's been times where one person did a lion's share of the work, or two people did the work, or three people, and somehow at other times the band gets sold short because of it, because people may say, oh, well, the band it's not really a band, or this one didn't do anything, or this one's writing corny songs, or whatever the case may be. But very much what makes Revenge such a great album, and the reason it's doing so phenomenally well, is because there's four people who did a tremendous job. I mean, from the time we started writing songs, we must have done about 50 songs, thrown most of them out, rewrote them, went into rehearsal, everybody came up with their parts, then scrapped them. You know, it was a process that took quite a while, and it's something that could only be this good because four people did it. It's absolutely a band album. It's Kiss.
I mean, it's ironic, I mean, if I can interject, even though at the time when I was recording with them, I was only, filling in to help out, but I felt a real part of it. Even if all I would have done was just played on the record, I would have still felt like a big part of me was there, because there was a lot of commitment and energy put in by everybody. I mean, not even just the band, but I mean, even all the engineers that worked on the record and the producer, everybody really, put a lot of heart and soul into it, and I think it shows.
Absolutely, and also really carrying on from that, you've recently done a club tour in the States, which I know you did for the fans, and perhaps on this album you seem to maybe have the attitude that you're doing it far more for yourselves and without any sort of outside pressures and, you know, people saying you've got to write a hit single or...
You know, it's a lot more, people think about it a lot more than we did. We were pretty selfish, actually. We just didn't want to wait until August to start touring. And the record company started thinking about doing these playbacks to play back the record to radio stations and interviewers and so on. And we just said, hell with that. We don't want to sit around with some stiff-necked geek sitting in front of us who could care less about the band. You know who you are. We care much more about our fans. So we decided to take the music to our fans, and the club shows were much more like playing the new stuff and some of the older stuff to our fans, to our friends. I mean, this is family for us. And the club tour was just a chance for us to do a couple of things, to have Eric play some of the new stuff, some of the old stuff, and to play the new album to our fans, and just to gear up. And the real tour isn't still going to start. It kicks off in America July the 31st.
August 31st is what he just said.
August 31st. That's right.
Flash. The Kiss tour in the States has been delayed 1 month, but that's okay because it gives us a little more chance to make sure that the stage is everything it should be. Because everybody over here is getting knocked out by the show that we have here, and when in truth the new show makes this look like an intimate evening with Kiss. So we're real excited, and obviously we're doing this for ourselves and our fans. But when we please ourselves, we please our fans. And maybe for a while we didn't have the pedal down quite all the way, but we got it floored now, and if you're in the way, you get run over.
Okay, well, we'll talk some more about the tour a little later on, but coming up now, we're going to see the debut video from Revenge. I think this shook a few people up, actually.
Yes, this is the ballad. This is Unholy. Hold on tight.
Kiss are taking revenge on Headbangers Ball, and we're going to talk some more about the new album. Now, maybe ask this to Gene. How do you think Revenge updates Kiss for the 90s?
I think it basically sets down the rules. It's almost our manifesto. No more paying attention to radio stations, no more paying attention to radio stations, no more paying attention to radio stations. We could really give two shits. And the most important thing is we figured out that we've got to stay true to ourselves. So in a lot of ways, this is like a first album all over again.
And it's perhaps the heaviest Kiss record for 10 years.
Absolutely. It's everybody did their best to make sure that this could, how would you say, curdle milk, you know, make cottage cheese of the air. It's about as heavy as it gets, you know. And plus it's good stuff, you know. I mean, there's no trick to making a heavy album. I mean, anybody can do that. Making a good album is a whole nother thing. I mean, sometimes you hear bands saying, oh, this is our heaviest, we've gone back to doing what we do, and the music still sucks. You know, there's good tunes, really great tunes, great playing. That's what makes Revenge really great. Not that it's heavy. I mean, that word's boring, you know.
It just seems to me that Kiss have been at the forefront of musical styles for many years. I mean, how do you do it? Have you got a crystal ball or something?
I think when we're at our best, we're following our intuition. You know, we do what we like to do. You can always try to jump on the bandwagon, but that means you're following somebody. You're not leading a parade. You wind up trying to see where someone else is going. So, I mean, when we do that, I mean, we jump off real quick if we suddenly go, wait a minute, this is not true. This isn't who we are. So, I mean, anything good comes around again, and we can survive. If a bad year for us is selling 1 million albums, we'll take the bad years too.
I think there's another thing you've got to do to yourself every once in a while, and that's really be brutal with yourself. You've got to reassess who you are, what you want to do, what you're in this for, and some of us more than others. And you've got to do some soul searching and figure out if you really want to do this. And if you want to do it, you should do it all the way.
100%.
100%.
Perhaps I could bring Bruce in here. Could you tell us a little bit about how Bob Ezrin brought out the best in Kiss for Revenge?
Oh, well, he tortured me. That was one way. He made me feel like I didn't know how to tune a guitar, no less be able to play it. But that was the process to go through. It was like, we don't want you to think about what you're going to play. We want you to feel it, and from the lower extremities of your body. So it was really an opportunity for me to...
balls.
Yeah, exactly. People were saying, hey, Bruce, you changed your style. I don't know. I think just the best of my style came out, and the fact that it's a great role. It's like if I was an actor, it's the role of a lifetime for me, and a lot of it has to do with the focus of the band and Bob Ezrin torturing me. That's
And
really
he's
it.
one of the people that